Hello. Well, this is hopefully going to be a shorter video, but it's still going to be mostly a talk video, not a show and tell video. I've been watching a fair amount of content for other related purposes regarding more along the lines of, home decor and that kind of thing. And I don't intend for this channel to veer off into that category very much, but I do want to kind of touch on that because it is related to personal style. And so I've seen a lot where, well, it's a space largely dominated by women. And, I named the previous video kind of along these lines, Cabincore, as, kind of a counterman to that. Speaking, directly to, would that be kind of the male version of the cottagecore? But of course, I was talking still mostly about clothing. Now, the cottagecore, it's been around for a while, but, as more and more people kind of discover the term, they, feed off of it. And so you'll get a woman who's, never heard of it before, 8 months ago, but now as of 6 months ago, she's an expert or whatever, but she's still confusing, this aesthetic with maybe this aesthetic, or not understanding why trying to blend cottagecore with this other thing might not work as well as they think it does or whatever. Largely for men, this all boils down to, when they enter your bachelor pad or whatever and say, oh, you need a woman's touch, and the red flags immediately start going off. What does that mean? Literally, it means girly stuff and clutter to, traditional thinking, men or whatever. And hence, not a new concept either. The man cave was born, right? Okay. So, somewhere in the middle, obviously, most women don't want a house to look like a man cave, and most guys don't want their entire life to look like Little House on the Prairie. So, however, you work that out in your, marriage or whatever is, I'm not even trying to get in the middle of that. What I do, want to kind of stress again is not so much the pure minimalist style, although, I mean, minimalist has a connotation or an aesthetic now, whatever that means. What used to just mean clean doesn't mean clean anymore. Now it means like a specific style of furniture that look clean too. So it's kind of an urban minimalist as opposed to, Japanese farmhouse minimalist or something. I don't know, which would be technically cottagecore with, Tommy mats or whatever thrown in instead of the woven yarn ones, or not yarn. I don't know, the ones that you used to always see when like in the 70s anyway. The ones that looked kind of like dish towels with the loose weave. Maybe some of you know. Multicolor often. Anyway, yeah. So my contention, is just largely, if I had a place for this stuff, then it would probably be in that place and it wouldn't be clutter. I don't, try to do intentional clutter as some sort of aesthetic, and a lot of decor literally boils down to knick-knacks, which, just can become overwhelming for a lot of people, as opposed to, a few well-placed items or whatever that, give a theme. But when you're trying to mix, like I said, examples, even in a subgenre, like even in cottagecore, there's like at least 3 subgenres now or something. So I'm coming back to this on purpose because, there's the woodland sprite kind of dark, mysterious Hobbit version. And then there's, like I said, the Little House on the Prairie, very purist, not all post-colonial America, but some even English, what, is still the traditional cottagecore, that kind of true European, farmhouse look, I guess. And then of course, you know, the American kind of hybrid from that back to the LL Bean catalog is your kind of beach house cottage. And now the beach house cottage is not the same as like the nautical look, which I'm going to do a whole separate video on nautical stuff soon enough. Once we get a little bit, like I said, once we get a little bit of change in the weather and things become more seasonally appropriate. But the nautical, there's a little overlap, but not as much as people might like to think, you know, because the beach cottage is more like your white furniture with your pastel walls and your soft watercolors and your seashells and the sand dollars, you know, like I said, the LL Bean bed sheets with the starfish and the sand dollars and all that kind of thing, is not the same thing as boat guy. Yeah, where everything is dark, you know, wood and blue, or you know, maybe gray, very very stormy look to it, not a bright sunny summery springy, you know, soft sea foam and yellow and maybe sky blue. No, this is, you know, navy, old navy, not old navy the store, but old navy like pre-World War I looking stuff, you know. But that also being separate from kind of a more preppy nautical look, which is, you know, again back to the red, white, and blue motif and the, you know, the sailing yachts and the summery vibe, but not as pastel of a summery vibe. So you've got three different cottagecores, you've got three different nauticals. And again, I'm not even, you know, the cabin thing being not even the Hobbit thing, the cabin thing being a separate, distinct, like the Old Navy thing. It's more the Old Mountain thing, you know, hunting lodge, not what would be the equivalent? I don't know, cottage, nice cottage. I don't know. I don't know what it, you know, what you have to do to become a, you know, bona fide decorator, where people go, well, he's a decorator or she's a decorator. I don't think there's any degree you need for that, but you should have, you know, some knowledge of what works well together and that kind of thing. And if you don't, you know, hopefully there's stuff like this that helps. Obviously this room has no, you know, actual like total overwhelming theme because it's just what it is. But so I can point to the sailor guy there as obviously an example of the one thing, and the globe there is obviously an example of tying in with the sailor guy thing, and then the posters are just posters because I, you know, didn't want to hang a bunch of art on the wall for the time being. But what I always wanted to do, and I've never quite been able to do it because of my own personal wall space problems, is have unification. Like, so instead of this color dresser and that color dresser, I would like to have all white furniture in one room and all kind of pine colored furniture in the other room. And it never seems to work out that way. So I always end up with a hodgepodge, and that's just life. If I was doing a house, I wouldn't necessarily want the entire house to all be the exact same theme. Your results may vary. But if I was going to do one room, I would want, you know, very specific decorations for that room that don't necessarily bleed into all the other rooms, because again, it's a form of aesthetic clutter, even if it's not, you know, just knickknacks and junk. One of the and again, that, you know, just the color of the walls can affect that too. Excuse me. The Is there a simple solution for that? Well, you know, it depends on the size of your space. It depends on your budget. It depends on all those kind of things. So obviously people have been gravitating toward looks where they don't have to spend that much money on furniture because they're finding used furniture and that kind of thing, and they're painting it or refurbishing it or, you know, modifying it to suit their look. And sometimes I think it works better than others. And of course, if you're, you know, just getting old furniture from friends or something because they want rid of it and you don't have money, then whatever, you're not, you know, too worried about your aesthetic. And of course, if you're doing up your man cave, the TV is probably the focus more than the decorations, or if it's your workout space, then you've got your, you know, barbells or whatever. Um, yeah, so, how much of a man cave needs to be your man cave, I don't know. Like I said, I'm not going to, journey too far off onto everybody's, do it the way I do it. A lot of what I have, I guess, the difference with the Cottagecore thing is, they like to kind of display the usable items, whereas for me that's what cabinets are for. Like if I had more cabinets, I would have less stuff showing. I might have the same kind of stuff, but I don't have the wall space to hang 30 copper pots off my wall. I'm never gonna have that. And even if I did, I probably wouldn't hang copper pots there. I would probably hang something else there because I don't cook all that much. So, don't really need to display what I don't use, or need instant access to it, even more so. As far as other things, as I get more, I don't know. When I was younger, we used to collect kitschy stuff on purpose. Now I get to the point where I'm kind of like, okay, some of it looks cool and some of it's just kind of in my way. I don't just, I just throw it all away willy nilly. I don't know what your schedule's supposed to be. How long is too long to own a poster? I don't know. I keep thinking that somebody's going to happen along at a yard sale who's going to be like, oh, I've been looking all my life for these 10 posters, and it rarely happens that they even want a single poster. So what you're supposed to do with old posters, I don't know. But hung art, it tends to be, I think for most people, it becomes kind of a lazy thing. You hang it and then you kind of forget about it, and it stays there for until it's done. I had a friend whose mom, for a very long time, was into wicker baskets, and it became kind of a sore spot because her husband kind of felt like all his money was going to wicker baskets and not to food for the kids kind of thing. So you can't overdo it at some point, too. But there wasn't like a lot of valuable like art. Another house where they didn't really have the wall space, it didn't really fit. There wasn't any real like overt, you know this painting is a collectible painting. And I don't know how many people really collect those kind of paintings anymore. I don't know if I'm speaking into the void or not, or if most people just kind of decorate on the fly with stuff they see at Michael's or Kohl's or something. I don't know. Whereas obviously you hire somebody who's supposed to know better than you, and then they still run to Michael's or Kohl's and bring back the same stuff. So you know, I guess you have to kind of vet your decorator to know what their taste is, before you commit to them taking over your space. I'll never have a decorator because I think I know what I like better than somebody else, but who knows what the future brings.